All right, lads, and welcome back to the Off the Line podcast with myself and Jamie.
Hello.
And we are back with another weekly Bosh.
Wahey!
Guestless this week, unfortunately.
Yes.
We were going to have a Newcastle fan on, but we failed to contact him in time.
Yeah, we wanted to talk
So
to him about
to spare him
last week's result and just say hello, really. Just check in about what's going on in his life.
Yeah. In the end, we decided to spare him the embarrassment, to be honest, because it was a. I mean, if you guys, we're going to do another quick one this week. If you guys don't know how this works, we're gonna go over the midweek fixtures. But obviously, we had a full game week of FA Cup last weekend, which was really enjoyable. I really enjoyed watching FA Cup games last weekend. But we had some COVID cancelled games played this week, and some big results for big teams, Jamie.
Yeah.
Some teams picking up points that we didn't expect to.
No.
We'll crack on with the first fixture. The first fixture of the week, of course, the big story. Sheffield United have won a game. Sheffield United have won a game. Billy Sharp, a legend of the club, came back and scored a penalty for them. And then a rightfully given penalty. I know there was a little bit of arguments about the handball, but I think it was a really good decision from the referee once consulting VAR, and Billy Sharp coming on, and it's probably, with the club in a bit of a sticky situation, it's probably about right that he came on and got their goal. He's been a hero for them up from League One, and that ended a club record run of 20 league matches without a win.
Yeah, and the longest
for Sheffield United,
Premier League
and it was
run.
against Newcastle.
Yeah, I mean, Newcastle were rubbish, weren't they? They were just absolutely toothless. Nothing in attack. It didn't help that Fraser got his red card, but to go to Sheffield and to have 10 less shots and 33% possession than a team bottom of the league, without a hope in hell of staying up at the moment. You just think, what is going on in that club? That and Steve Bruce is still managing to get the backing of Mike Ashley despite these awful results. And I feel like if Newcastle carry on down this road, there's definitely a threat of relegation for them in the future. So, I mean, we'll see, but it doesn't.
Yeah, to slowly creep. Newcastle are slowly starting to creep down, aren't they, towards the bottom three?
Mm-hmm.
This is 8 games without a win now in all competitions for them, and there seems to be a lot of unrest between suddenly the fans and watching Steve Bruce and Steve Bruce's football, which
you'd be far stretched to find a Newcastle fan that supports Steve Bruce at the moment.
Yeah, I think that's right. You know, I saw a tweet the other day. And it was saying the media's kind of coverage of this and saying that Steve Bruce's football isn't pretty, but it gets results. I saw a tweet the other day that says that at some point the media are going to have to appreciate that Newcastle fans have a right to be upset, even though their team are staying up, which is ultimately the goal for Steve Bruce. That is what he's been brought in to do. That's what he does as a football manager, is he keeps teams in the Premier League. Yeah. And I understand that. That's what his football is designed to do. But at a point, as fans of a club that used to be, challenging for the title, challenging for the top 4, you've got to understand these fans are not going to be happy with just staying in the Premier League. Yeah. And I can understand them being a bit miffed watching football that is, it's dull.
Yeah.
What I will say, it'd be even worse if there were fans that
it's very important to make the distinction that Newcastle fans don't have any delusions of grandeur about, their standard of players that they have in the squad. They probably, on paper, if you look at each team, I know football's not played on paper, it's played on grass. If you look at Newcastle's team, you'd probably say they're around sort of 13th, 14th in the league, if it's where you put them in like a prediction. But they play the worst football in the Premier League. I don't think that's disputable at this point, and I completely understand it, and I've got a lot of sympathy for Newcastle fans with their current situation.
Yeah, definitely.
Especially going for Benitez, but yeah.
Yes, of course. I mean, and Steve Bruce has come out today and said that he's just brushing off any criticism. He doesn't think it's right, which is his mindset towards football is obviously warped. If that's what he thinks is
definitely,
to think those fans have got no reason to moan and say that personal criticism against his way of playing football is wrong, then there's an issue at the club, and Mike Ashley's come out today and backed. There's been an issue at that club for years, really, but that's something that will have to be sorted internally. But we'll move on to the second midweek game, which was, of course,
Wolves,
I'm
Everton?
not as prepared as I thought I was.
Wolves, Everton.
It was.
That's what I've got here.
Burnley, Manchester United.
Oh, okay.
Burnley, Manchester United. Yeah. So we'll talk about Burnley, Manchester United. Just a result, isn't it? It's a tough place to go. Manchester United, Paul Pogba.
They go top.
Scoring
as well.
Deflective volley, and Manchester United going top of the league and making this weekend's game absolutely enormous.
Yeah.
The biggest game of the season.
Huge.
So far, definitely. And we'll cover that game a bit later, but we're talking now about a Manchester United team that's suddenly able to grind results out away against tough spirit in this team suddenly, which is something they were definitely lacking earlier on in the season, especially in games especially in the games against Tottenham.
Yeah.
And a couple of other teams where they actually looked like they lacked any kind of drive and spirit. And Sky
it's
Sports
a sign of a good
team
team
about the fact they weren't
grinding
tracking
out those results, isn't it? It's the 1-0s and the 2-1s that you've got to get in, get the 3 points and get out of there, and I think that's what they've done really well against Burnley. I didn't personally watch the game, but just had a voice break.
The spirit of Jamie's still young at heart. He's still young at heart.
Yeah.
You're right. I think that they are starting to show the signs of not just a top 4 team, but a title challenging team. You know, to go to a team like Burnley when in the middle of winter, it's a horrible place to go. They're a physical team. Burnley have been playing pretty well recently as well. Manchester United have gone and just done the job they needed to do, and that's a really, really good sign for Ollie and his team. We'll move on to Wolves against Everton, which we were going to talk about earlier on. Everton maintaining their charge for a top 4 spot.
Yeah.
Goals from Alex Iwobi and Michael Keane, two almost forgotten sons of the Premier League a little bit.
Yeah.
Alex Iwobi has obviously fallen out of favour. Alex Iwobi had fallen out of favour at Everton, kind of started playing behind either Richarlison or Bernard, and has found his way back into the team, probably due to Richarlison's injury, but he's started playing for them again. He's putting in performances.
Yeah, it's important to say that players like Luca Digne are back for Everton, and James Rodriguez obviously is a massive win. I think obviously the result against West Ham last week would have hurt them a lot, and I think Ancelotti would have stuck a rocket up them in midweek and said, we need to go to Wolves and get this win. And Wolves are no pushover, so it's a really useful win for Everton, especially, and I think they're still in that top 4 space. And again, it's these results that you've got to keep grinding out if you want to be up the top end of the table at the end of the season. I think that's what they've done well.
Definitely, 100%. Yeah, I think it's really important that Everton now maintain this form. I think this is the issue that they had earlier on in the season, where people were talking about them being potential title contenders, and that was all early season hoodoo. I don't think they're going to win the league.
No,
I don't think anyone truly believed they were going to win the league, but I think that they then suffered from a bit of something that Everton have suffered from, I think, since David Moyes left. Yeah. They just lack a little bit of consistency. They have periods of 4 or 5 games where they just lose and draw to teams they ought not be losing and drawing to.
Yeah.
But if there is a manager in world football that's going to be able to instigate some consistency, it is Carlo Ancelotti. Definitely. And I hope that for his sake and for Everton's sake, because I don't mind Everton, I like Ancelotti because obviously Chelsea have got a pass with him.
Yeah.
I hope that they can kick on because I think they're doing great things there. And I really like Hans just as a player. So I hope they can kick on and maintain their form. Next up, Manchester City against Brighton. Young Philip Foden.
Yeah.
Scoring again. Manchester City's top scorer now this year with 8 goals in all competitions. And is he starting to move into the bracket of young Mbappe, Haaland, Joao Felix, that level of
I think he's there.
Ability, being considered. I think I would put him there. I think he's the best young Premier League, definitely Premier League that's anywhere near him at the moment.
Yeah, definitely.
In any position. I think he's the closest to world class you've got in that age bracket. I think he is, in my mind, the best young midfielder in the world.
Just changes
definitely,
the game,
in terms of ability and He does, and he is learning. I think under Guardiola, what David Silva had for City
Yeah.
is that ability to find space and that ability to find the ball and shift. He's developing this innate sense for where to be on the pitch, which is so important for a young attacking midfielder.
Yeah.
He's Guardiola, especially with Guardiola having worked like midfielders, with midfielders like Thiago Alcantara in the past. He's worked with Xavi, Iniesta, Busquets. He's going to be able to coach this player to be able to find the gaps, and that's going to do a world of good for Foden's career.
Well,
And I think
I said at
it's
the
only
start of
up.
the season that, you know, Man City losing David Silva will be massive, I think, personally.
Yeah,
I just believe that they lose a huge amount of creativity and a sort of impetus going forward. And I think that's what Phil Foden needs to get into now. He needs to get into that David Silva role. But he's got another dimension, is that he gets forward and gets into those spaces, like you say, and he's got the ability to score good goals, and he's also versatile. So if he's not playing at centre mid, he can play further forward. He can play like sort of a drifting inside those channels, which is what City like to do, I think. So, but yeah, good win for them, 1-0. I'd hate to sound like a broken record, but that is the sign of a good team. And yeah, City go into the top 4 now, I think, which is, they haven't been there in a while, so they'll be happy with that, definitely.
I think it's great. It's great. Next result: Tottenham against Fulham.
Yes.
Only a story for Tottenham at home.
Yeah.
It's Jose Mourinho going 1-0 up and parking the bus, and it not quite materialising the way that he wanted it to.
No. Credit
Obviously,
to Fulham.
there was a lot of pre-match. Yeah, no, there was a lot of pre-match back and forth between Jose Mourinho and Scott Parker. I don't like to buy into all of that, because I think that both teams have probably suffered a little bit from having their game postponed, and then Fulham being told on Monday that they're now playing a completely different team all day. I think that probably has an effect on them. Jose Mourinho saying that Fulham would owe the league an apology if they played a full strength team. It's just Jose Mourinho being Jose Mourinho.
Stupid,
Scott Parker, I think, handled it really well, and ultimately won the battle, because Fulham getting a point away at Tottenham is a huge result for them. Ivan Cavaliero getting the goal in the second half, and another case of Spurs scoring early and then failing to hold on it. I mean, West Ham, they lost the lead. Wolves, I believe, they lost the lead. Now against Fulham,
there's been a lot of times this season.
I said this at the start of the year. Jose Mourinho's football, while it does win trophies, and I do fancy them for the League Cup, over the course of a league season, when he hasn't got a world-class defence, it can cause issues, because he's the kind of manager to protect a 1-goal lead.
Yeah.
And that's just, in this league, with the amount of talent we have now, and even these lower league teams, players like Ademola Lookman, Ivan Cavaliero at Fulham, these lower league teams are always capable of getting a goal, and that's what they're showing Mourinho now, is that maybe when he was here 2004 at Chelsea, the top end of the league was a lot stronger than the bottom half. That was just the way it was, and he was able to win games 1-0, 2-0. That's not how it works now.
More of a level playing field now.
You look at the top teams in the league. You look at your Liverpool's, and their philosophy is to score as many goals as possible. They don't hold back. They play at 1,000,000 miles an hour the whole game. And I think that is something that Mourinho is going to have to learn, that he's got to, once scoring, he's got to then kill the game, instead of trying to sit back and just wait for it to end.
Yeah.
And it's going to cost Tottenham in the long run.
Yeah, I want to give credit to Fulham as well. I think they battled really well, and I did watch a little bit of this game, and to go to Tottenham Stadium and to compete is something that's massive for a team like Fulham, and massive for their sort of, because me and Sam are both guilty of writing them off really early in the season. You've got pundits like Jamie Carragher who's just saying Fulham will go down, let's just accept it now, and then you look at the table and you think they've got a really realistic chance of getting out of that relegation zone, and with the new tactic that Parker's brought in, the 5-back, I talked about it all the time recently. I think they will do a lot better in terms of the rest of the season. But yeah,
definitely. Well, a good result.
Yeah.
This, and then we'll move on to the dead rubber.
Yeah,
of the weekend,
of the week.
This was. Oh, it was dire. I watched portions of this game on my phone while I was doing other things.
Yeah, I just watched the
Oh
first
my
half.
god,
I couldn't watch the second.
it was. I mean, this is, and a lot's been said about Arsenal, and they're up to there, are they? I mean, you can talk about. Oh, they won 3 games in a row. They looked really good. You know, Emil Smith-Rowe, Bukayo Saka, all these young players have started to really turn up and play. Obviously, Gabriel Martinelli, I believe, got injured. Was it in the warm up? He's gone. He's now out for God knows how long. He looked like he was in quite a lot of pain. But no, it's just another lackluster performance from Arsenal. I'm sorry. I mean, I'm sorry if I sound like a broken record, but I've got to say it. And this is not biased here, but if Arsenal have got aspirations of being up in the top 5, top 6, you've got to be beating a team like this, especially at home. You know, Palace have been notoriously inconsistent with their performances. Palace weren't very good yesterday. If Arsenal had turned up the way they did against Chelsea, they'd have torn Palace apart. But this is the issue. Arsenal cannot provide consistency.
No.
You know, they started the league really poorly this year. They had a really good spell between Christmas and New Year where they got some results, but now it's starting to crumble. That's just my opinion. You know, you can't even really give credit to Crystal Palace for this result. It's 2 teams that ultimately weren't good enough on the day and cancelled each other out. That's it.
Yeah, that's pretty succinct and pretty well done. Should we move on to the power rankings?
We should. We're going to do one each.
Just one each.
We're going to do one each this week because we're trying to get this done quite quickly because me and Jamie have left it till an hour before release time to record this because we're really, really organised.
Yeah.
But no, me and Jamie had a conversation about our power rankings before the fact, and we decided that it was only right that Sheffield United be our good one because
they spent so long in the bad one.
Finally, a spirited performance from this team. You know, a performance full of guts, and I think that is probably down to the introduction of Billy Sharp, whether it's because New Year, Chrissy Wilder's got them playing for whatever reason. And I'm not saying that Newcastle were any good. Newcastle were woeful. But Sheffield United, having lost, you know, God knows how many, lost 15 games this season, drawn a couple, had to turn out a result here, and they did. And I'm not saying this is the beginning of a survival charge. It could be. It would be the greatest escape we've ever seen in the Premier League, in the top flight, probably the greatest escape from relegation. It would be a great story, and I hope they do it because no, it was a more spirited performance from Sheffield United, and it's finally the guts that they needed to show to start this mission back up the table. But yeah, the only reason we've got them in is because, you know, we have spent so long this season, the two of us, tearing them to pieces, and rightly so. They haven't been very, very good, but it's only right that we give them the credit where it's due.
Yeah, 100%. And
so.
Yeah, sorry, no, I got lost a little bit there. I glazed over. No, yeah, I definitely think if Sheffield are to sort of create a charge back up the league, then that's the turning point, and they really need to sort of get 5 or 6 wins in a row now if they want to stand any chance of staying up, and that might be tricky, especially with next week's opponents, but definitely can be got at. But we will go to our negative power ranking now, and me and Sam love talking about Tottenham and Tottenham being bad. So yeah, but I think you summed it up pretty nicely earlier with your chat about Mourinho. I just think they still lack that killer edge to go and kill off a game and put their stamp on it. And they show it sometimes. They show it in games where they just, Son and Kane just go at it. Like the Leeds game, they just went, and they got a really good result against Leeds. But just too many times this season where Tottenham just don't. You know, they've got their opponents, they've got a knife to their neck, and then they just bottle it.
The thing is, what I will say about the Leeds game, you know, Leeds are a team that you can quite easily go and kill. You know, Chelsea beat Leeds 4-1. Everyone's done Leeds this season. If you beat Leeds, you beat them by 3 goals because Leeds are the way that they are. Leeds don't defend. If Leeds go 2 goals up, they still go hell for leather and try and score as many goals as they can.
Yeah.
when Jose Mourinho comes up against a team with a set defence that hasn't completely capitulated. I mean, you talk about the United game that they won 6-1. That was another example of a team that had just completely capitulated after the second goal.
Mm.
You know, they had a man sent off, and it was. I mean, that was a dire performance from United. We've covered that, before, but it's becoming an issue now where Tottenham just don't hold on to leads, and that is the hallmark of a really good Premier League team.
Yeah,
is that Tottenham hold on to leads. Tottenham hold on to results. Tottenham have to do that if they want to become the next level. You know, if they want to get themselves up there. That's just my opinion on it. We'll move on now to this weekend's fixtures. We've got a full game week, and we will move on to that. It's an interesting one this weekend. It's really
huge games going on this weekend,
and it starts with Wolves against West Brom.
Yeah,
which is
at Molineux as well. It's important to note. West Brom haven't played obviously in the midweek games, so they'll be fresher than Wolves. But for me, I still see this as a Wolves win. I think there's a possibility of a draw, but I don't see West Brom winning this one. I don't know how you feel about this game, Sam.
No, I think Wolves will get a result here. I think West Brom are my second pick to go down now this season.
Yeah,
you know, Brighton, Burnley, Fulham. You know, all those teams are definitely in the running, but I think Sheffield United and West Brom are the two that are in. Yeah, I think West Brom and Sheffield United are the two that are in real trouble. I think they're the only two that look aimless. I think West Brom actually are suffering a lot from letting
Bilic go,
letting Slavan Bilic go. I don't think Sam Allardyce has improved them at all, if I'm being brutally honest.
We'll see if Sam Allardyce sticks to his word of keeping teams up as well, because obviously that's one of his selling points. But yeah, for me,
we'll see. Like I said, I can't see West Brom winning this, so we'll go with the Wolves win. The next game is
Leeds Brighton. I've got here
Leeds Brighton. This is potentially a game that Brighton can get a result in, especially with the way they play football. I know Pep Guardiola said in the week that if he when he was a player, he'd have loved to play for Brighton. I saw that quote in the week. That's an interesting one. He said I think he said Graham Potter's the best English manager as well. I think those are words that came out of his mouth. But we'll just that's Pep Guardiola. He's got a very strange philosophy on football. Pep Guardiola sometimes.
I noticed he didn't say UK manager because obviously Moyes would be up there. But
well, I think Graham Potter isn't obviously. He must think Frank Lampard's from Ireland, so that's just it's understandable. It's completely fine. He can't. He must just not consider Essex part of England.
Anyway, joke, are you? It's not.
Leeds against Brighton. I'm going to say. I like the way Brighton play football, but I do think this is a tough one. And the thing is, you can't even predict a draw for this because one of them will win. I just don't think with the way that Leeds play football, they'll either win or lose, and that's it.
Yeah, I kind of get that.
Leeds, Brighton.
I'm going to say Leeds. Brighton. I'm going to say Leeds. I think if they, because what I will say about Leeds is if their attack starts firing, then their game goes well. And I think they can get through a team like Brighton. Because I think Brighton will want to open up a little bit more and attack. Because obviously when you're playing City, you put 10 men behind the ball and try and hit them on the counter. But with Leeds, I feel like the attack's not as scary as Man City's attack. So I think they'll try and open up a little bit. And I think that's where Bamford will do quite well. But he's got to start scoring some goals again because he's been really inconsistent of late. So we'll see. But I'm going to say Leeds. I'll back Leeds. What about you?
I'm going to go with Leeds. I think this is a game they'll win. Brighton, while I do enjoy the way that they play, and I love a couple of their players, I just don't think they've got enough.
No.
To cope with Leeds' bombardier kind of attacking style. Yeah. I think Leeds this season will come unstuck against bigger teams, but will beat little teams like this. That's why I can see them finishing kind of 12th, 11th in the league. So I think they'll beat Brighton. I don't want to predict a score because
we'll just do.
Who knows? We'll just do.
We'll move on to West Ham Burnley. I don't know what you think about this one.
you'd hope that West Ham would get a result. I think I'd hope for the sake of football that West Ham would get a result because it's probably they're probably going to play more attractive football. Burnley away have never been great. I'd back West Ham. I'd back West Ham for this one.
Yeah, what I will say is Burnley have always been a bit of a bogey team for West Ham. Chris Wood always pops up with a goal, and Ashley Barnes as well. You think of recent years, obviously the West Ham game a couple of years back when the fan ran onto the pitch with the corner flag and all that. That was when we were 3-0 down to Burnley at home. So I'm going to say a draw because I think Burnley will set up really nicely and I think it will be sort of a 1-1 draw, 2-2 draw, that sort of thing. But I hope for a win, obviously. But yeah, we'll move on to the West London derby at 5:30 on the Saturday. Sam, what are you saying about this?
Well, it's interesting. Right? This is a big one. This is a big one for a lot of reasons because obviously this is our local derby, and they flipping hate us. But you know what? It's almost like we're bigger than them, and they don't really matter. You know, they're just the kind of cute little younger brother in the corner that hates you, but you just kind of you just pander to them. You're like, all right,
we hate Millwall. Yeah.
I was going to say, Chelsea hate Millwall as well. Yeah. Everyone hates Millwall. No one likes.
You're going to take anything from this podcast? Everyone hates Millwall.
I think my dad. I was having this conversation with my dad the other day, and I was saying about the what's happening in the US with the Republicans. I was saying, just take a load of Leeds fans over there and tell them the Republicans are United fans, and they won't get anywhere near. Yeah, they won't get anywhere near the Capitol building. They'll
be Leeds.
Pushed back. Big John with his wife beater and 2 cans of Stella. God. Wobbling down the Capitol building steps. Amazing. Tangent. Well, like I said, Fulham are kind of the younger brother that no one really cares about. You know, we've got bigger fish to fry and bigger rivals to worry about. Well, I mean, the bigger rivalry for Chelsea is Tottenham, even though Fulham are local. You know, Chelsea probably got bigger rivalry with Tottenham, Arsenal, Liverpool. You know, they're bigger games for us. Fulham are just kind of pander to them. They turn up every 4 or so years when they're not in the Championship, and you just beat them and then send them back down. You know, that's how it works. But obviously, they've caught us at a good time at the moment because we're struggling for Premier League form, and that's the truth of it. Obviously, Kai Havertz and Werner both contributed to goals against Morecambe in the FA Cup last weekend. That was an FA Cup game. We were playing a League Two side. It probably would have done them a world of good for their confidence, but they've now got to kick on and perform in the Premier League. And I'd like to see them both play at the weekend. I'd like to see them both put out performances.
Yeah,
Kante's out for this one. Kante's suspended.
Right.
He obviously picked up a 5 yellow card in the last Premier League game suspension, and won't be a part. But that might pave the way for Billy Gilmour to play.
Yeah.
After he turned out another good performance against Morecambe. I mean, I'm not going to say that Fulham are going to beat us. I think we'll get a result against Fulham.
Yeah, I agree. I'll go with Chelsea on this one.
I think it'll be 3-0. I'm going to be positive.
As I say, I don't think it'll be quite that emphatic. I think Fulham will give you a game. But because I really like Scott Parker's new system. I think it works really well for the players that Fulham have, especially with players like Anderson, who's come in and done quite well for them. And you think of their wing backs like Anthony Robinson and Bobby Decordova-Reid, who are really good going up and down those wings. So we'll see how they play. But yeah, I still think Chelsea have the quality to win here. We'll move on to the 8:00 game on Saturday. This is massive.
This is
massive game.
I said a few weeks ago on the podcast that I think that Southampton are where Leicester were 3 years ago, 4 years ago now, because obviously Southampton aren't going to win the league this year. But I think Southampton are at the same level now as Leicester, which is a big step up for them. And I think that is in part to their manager.
Yeah,
I love Ralph Hasenhüttl.
Yeah, he's fantastic, isn't he?
But Leicester have also got a great manager. They've all both got great players. They're both performing well in the league at the moment, and potentially both of them looking for Europa League, if not Champions League spots.
Yeah.
So it's difficult to call this one. Southampton fresh off beating Liverpool, and Leicester obviously have been pretty consistent with their results all season. Just beat Tottenham, so it's an interesting one. This one, it's difficult to call. I'm gonna go with Leicester, because I do feel like Harvey Barnes and Jamie Vardy will be able to get at that Southampton back line.
Yeah, I don't know if Vestergaard's back in for Southampton. That'll be a massive.
No, and I don't believe Danny Ings will be playing either because he's come down with a bout of COVID. So that's a big thing for them.
I didn't know that.
I know Ralph Hasenhüttl said yesterday that Ings has come down with COVID. It's their one positive test from the weekend.
Right.
So it remains to be seen what happens with that. But, it should be a good game. And we look forward to it. So we'll move on to Sheffield United against Tottenham.
I'm saying a Leicester win, by
if
the
there
way.
is a team, if there is a Leicester win, all right, fine. Sorry about that.
It's all right.
I'm raring to go.
Love to see
because I want to start beating Tottenham.
Yeah.
Sheffield United against Tottenham is poor. It's a big game for both teams in a sense because this is the exact game that Sheffield United didn't want. Now they're trying to build a little bit of momentum playing against Tottenham, but Spurs with their own issues at the moment, and
Spurs
this could be a moment for Sheffield United to strike and really stamp their authority on coming back up the league. I mean, if Sheffield United beats on Sunday, that's suddenly they are potentially staying up. There is potential there. That's all there will be. And I'm not saying they would, but if they were to beat, suddenly they are a team that have proven they're good enough to stay up. And that would be a really big result for them. I don't think it's going to happen.
No.
Because I think Spurs will get a result, but it's difficult. It's difficult to call. I'm going to say a 1-1 draw for this.
I'm going to say a Spurs win.
Bold claim.
Because obviously Newcastle were really poor. And we'll see how that goes. But as far as I'm concerned, Spurs will kill them here. And I can see this because I think Jose, they sort of have these results against Fulham and then they'll bounce the next week and they'll go, right, we're gonna snap these guys' necks. So I feel like, especially they'll want to go to Bramall Lane and give them a knock in. But Spurs win for me. Now we'll do the Man City Crystal Palace one and we'll talk about
it's again. The big one.
The big one.
To the end. Manchester City against Crystal Palace. This will be a 3-0 win, surely. Manchester City will.
Routine,
I can see
really,
Manchester City killing pants off.
Yeah,
pretty comfortably. Phil Foden, obviously, in really good form. De Bruyne back in really good form. This should be pretty comfortable.
Yeah.
For City. 3-0 win. Let's move on to the big one. Now, this is, in my mind, the biggest game between Manchester United and Liverpool there has been in many, many years.
Yeah, agreed.
Where it's actually meant things to both teams.
At Anfield.
Jurgen Klopp at Anfield.
And bearing in mind, if you look at Liverpool's record at Anfield over the past few seasons, it's staggering how good they are.
It's unbelievable. Now, this is all well and good. Liverpool have been fantastic at Anfield, and they have been, they've won countless Champions League games that have been mattered so much. They've won league games that have meant everything at Anfield. My mind goes back to beating City there. They've beaten pretty much everyone. They beat us there last year to win the league. I mean, it's a cauldron of football. It really is. It's like a mecca of football. They won't have fans in, obviously, because we're all sat in a national lockdown again.
Wait.
I'm not salty about it. I'm just disappointed. Liverpool won this fixture 2-0 last year. But it's difficult to call because Liverpool are on a bad run of form. They've just been beaten by Southampton. United are the informed team in the league. And if there's one game that is going to end this unbeaten run at Anfield, it is this one.
Yeah.
If there's one team that are going to want to end it, it is Manchester United, the two most successful teams in English football. In terms of Division 1 titles, they're both going to want to get at it and they're both going for the league. And I actually reckon United are going to win it.
Wow, that's huge.
I really do.
Yeah.
I think Edison Cavani's back for United and with this, it's a fledgling defence for Liverpool, and that is through no fault of their own. But I think they're going to struggle to keep Manchester United out. I think that's the main thing.
Absolutely.
And Manchester United are getting performances now from players like Eric Bailly and Harry Maguire, even, especially, and Alex Telles and Aaron Wan-Bissaka. Suddenly their defence looks absolutely steadfast, and Liverpool just haven't got the creativity to come off the bench. They start to struggle. I think Manchester United have got more going forward than Liverpool in terms of cohesion. I mean, Salah, Mane and Firmino are great, but Firmino just doesn't seem to want to find any form at the moment.
Yeah.
And that has a detrimental effect. Yeah, that has a detrimental effect on the rest of the team when Firmino isn't performing, because it minimalises the game of Salah and Mane as well. And I think United are going to do him. And I think this is going to be United getting very excited about winning the league. And then I think Liverpool. So that's my prediction. I think Manchester United will win the battle and Liverpool will ultimately win the war.
I'm going to go for a draw. Because, Sam, you know my rules.
It's boring, Jamie.
You know my rules, mate.
It's so boring.
Derbies end in draws.
Jamie, that's boring.
Derbies end in
controversial.
Draws. I'm not being controversial.
Tie your colours to a mast, man.
No.
Man.
No.
Tie your colours to a mast.
I don't see anything but a draw in my eyes. It's going to be 1-1. It's going to be boring as hell. It's what happened. We hype these games up all the time on the weekly, Bosh. We go, oh, Liverpool versus Chelsea, Liverpool versus City. It's going to be really good. You know, Man United, Man City. It's going to be really good. Draw. It's happened every single time this season. It will happen this Sunday. You heard it here first. Stick your house on it. If not, don't come back to me, because I won't have a word of it. Yeah, that's my prediction. I'm sorry. If I had to pick who's going to win, I'd say Liverpool. I'd say Liverpool. There
we go.
No. That's if I had to pick. If I had to pick a winner.
Anyone? Jamie hates Manchester United.
I don't hate Manchester United. I do.
He thinks Liverpool are going to win. We're never. I don't. Oh, Jamie.
Sorry.
You're refusing to be.
Sorry.
Controversial.
No.
And that I'm always going to be the controversial mind on this.
Controversy free. That's
You're on a controversy
life,
right?
ban. Yeah.
I was going to say that's why I'm here. That's why you've got me on here. It's just to create a little bit.
It's the duality of man.
If that's my role.
Is this
if
podcast.
That's my role, I will play it.
Yeah.
You know, I'm a man who aims to please. I will create as much controversy as I can. Lads, it's been a pleasure. If you agree, disagree, think I'm an idiot, think Jamie's an idiot, or just don't believe in football, drop us a message and we can discuss that with you. It is real and it's back, and the bloody Barclays will get us all through this. And if they stop it, I don't think I've got anything left. Honestly,
can I just
they stop football.
Sam, we've just missed out Arsenal Newcastle as well on the Monday. I think that's part of the game week. I'm not entirely sure. No, it's not. No, it's not. I'm chatting shit.
Do we have to talk?
No, we don't have to talk about it. Do it another time.
It's part of the game week.
Yeah.
Arsenal. Arsenal. They don't matter. This is it. Arsenal have. I'm not being funny. Both of them performed so badly midweek. They don't even get to be talked about.
Yeah.
That's where I'm at. I didn't even want to think about how bad that football was in the midweek. I'm just going to move on.
Right.
And I think the Arsenal and the Newcastle fans will thank us. Lads, it's been an absolute pleasure. Drop us a message if you agree or disagree with anything on what we've said today. Drop a comment. Get the socials. It's at Off the Line Podcast on Instagram and Twitter. And we are out.
See you later.